Some say that pets are the extension of the owner's personality. If that's true, then what does that say about the owners of these unbelievable pets? Number 1's gonna be a jaw-dropping surprise, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Here are 10 of the most unbelievable pets. With all that said and done, let's begin, shall we? Number 10. A capybara. Meet Chico. Chico is a hog-sized capybara who lives with his owner Ren and her husband in their Arkansas home. Capybaras are the world's largest rodents and resemble giant guinea pigs. In the wild, these water-loving South American natives normally spend hours a day feeding on aquatic plants in lakes, ponds, and rivers. They also like to roam the savannas to graze on grasses and fruit. Chico was adopted by the Wrens back in 2014 when he was just a tiny 4-pound infant. Since then, he has learned to identify more with humans than his own kind. Chico loves to wear hats, swimming, and diving in the family pool with Ren's grandchildren. He also sleeps in the bed with Ren and her husband. He even has a best friend named Darla, a mini pig who also makes her home with the Wrens. By all accounts, Chico is also highly intelligent and expressive with an extensive range of vocalizations. Speaking of pigs, number 9. A not-so-micro pig. In the summer of 2012, a man named Steve Jenkins was contacted by an old friend about adopting a micro piglet. You know, those little pigs that only grow to a certain manageable size. He agreed to take the adorable pig, even though he knew his partner Derek wouldn't be enthusiastic. Little did he actually know that this decision of his would change his and Derek's lives forever. It turned out that they had actually signed on to raise a full-sized commercial pig, and there was nothing even remotely micro about the pig, whom they had named Esther. In just 3 short years, tiny Esther grew to be a whopping 600-pounder. After some plus-size growing pains and a lot of pig-sized messes, it became very obvious that Esther needed more space, and by that I mean a lot more. That's why Steve and Derek made another life-changing decision. They bought a farm and opened Happily Ever Esther Farm Sanctuary where they could care for her. In just 2 short years, Esther had gathered hundreds of thousands of followers from all over the world. Her dad, Steve and Derek, had become among the world's most well-known and successful animal activists. Number 8. The Dog Soldier. Yorkshire Terriers are tiny dogs, small enough to fit in a handbag. You'd be more than likely to see them messing up a condo, but there is one Yorkshire Terrier that's not a pampered little pet, but a full-fledged, battle-tested soldier. Smokey was initially found in February of 1944, abandoned in a foxhole in the jungles of New Guinea. The dog was included in a dozen combat missions and survived more than 150 air raids. Like famous World War I veteran Stubby, Smokey used her sharp sense of hearing to warn of incoming artillery shells. One of Smokey's most famous exploits was at a crucial airstrip in the Philippine island of Luzon. The dog pulled a telegraph wire through a narrow 70-foot pipe, saving construction time and keeping workers and engineers safe from enemy fire. When not in harm's way, Smokey entertained troops with a variety of tricks and self-taught antics. Number 7. A reindeer. Move over, Rudolph, because there's another reindeer in town. Atu is a domesticated reindeer on Rovaniemi. He doesn't have a red nose, and his favorite pastime is not pulling sleighs on his dark winter nights, but rather enjoys watching TV and being an all-around couch potato. Heck, he's even become some sort of a local tourist attraction. He was only a small calf when his mother abandoned him, and he was found in the woods of Sovukoski near Sodenkaila in Finnish Lapland. Being an orphan, Atu never actually learned how to act like a reindeer. Atu was bottle-fed, brought up partly in a house, and learned to identify with humans rather than animals, so much so that he actually likes watching TV. His favorite show is apparently the British police constable series, Heartbeat. Atu, who lives part-time on a reindeer farm and in the yard of his owner Paya Tukanen's house, seems to like being indoors with humans. He knows how to walk carefully on parquet floors of the house where his owner lives, and he's been housebroken. Well, for the most part at least. Number 6. An elephant. Elephants belong to the wild, and there is no question about that. There is something inherently wrong about keeping these majestic animals locked up. But of course, there are a few exceptions who would greatly benefit from living with humans. Roxy Dankworth stumbled upon a baby elephant while she was working at Wild as Life, an animal sanctuary in Zimbabwe. The small baby elephant seemed to be lost and was separated from its herd when it was found on the shores of Lake Kariba. It looked like the poor thing almost drowned in a river while the herd was trying to cross it. When the efforts to find his herd ended fruitless, Roxy decided to personally nurse the elephant back to health. The baby elephant was very underweight when they first found him. Roxy spent a lot of time with the giant baby, giving him 18 liters of specialized formula every day. The baby elephant, who Roxy named Moyo Moyo, is now 5 years old, and he sees Roxy as a second mother and never lets her out of his sight. Number 5. A hyena. You had to be just plain old crazy like the Joker or Harley Quinn to even consider getting a hyena as a pet. Brian Hahn, for all intents and purposes, seems to be a pretty normal guy, but he still did everything he could to get Jake, his pet hyena. According to Brian, he spent 2 whole weeks stripping in Fort Lauderdale to earn the money to buy the vicious creature with deep, icy black eyes and razor fangs. Good story, I guess. Brian then said he kept Jake illegally in an apartment for 11 months until he began to make a ruckus by bouncing off walls. Can only imagine why, Brian. He said he was first shown 2 6-week-old hyenas, and he immediately bonded with the creature. Unfortunately, only after 11 months of being together, Brian had to say goodbye to Jake. Not because he was a vicious, unpredictable animal that could attack him at any given moment, but because feeding and taking care of Jake had become too expensive for him, and no amount of stripping could cover the expenses. He tried to give him to 3 different Florida zoos, but they all declined. That is until Mario Tabru at the Zoological Wildlife Foundation agreed to take in Jake. Brian still visits Jake, stating that the bond he has with his wild animal is absolutely priceless. Really quickly, do you know how insane that's gotta be if a Florida zoo doesn't want to take him in? You know, the state that's known for gators going through drive-thrus? And speaking of gators, number 4. An alligator. What's the worst pet that you could keep? A hyena? A lion? Well, for most people, it's anything that bites. What's worse than that? I say something that could bite your arm clean off, kinda like an alligator. Florida woman Mary Thorne doesn't seem to mind losing a limb or two, though, because for the past 10 years, she's been sharing her small house with an alligator that she has affectionately named Rambo. She treats the cold-blooded reptile like any other pet. Actually even dresses Rambo up, and he positively looks adorable in his Christmas outfit. She also takes him for rides on her ATV. Rambo is also somewhat of a local celebrity and has been the star of small shows that Thorne has put on for a few charities and organizations in our area. At his length of 5 feet and 8 inches, Rambo has grown large enough for the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission to rightfully be concerned. They were afraid that he didn't have enough space in Thorne's house. The big guy was almost forcibly taken away from his dear old mama, but Thorne was finally given a permit to keep Rambo at the last minute. Getting Lake Placid flashbacks here. Number 3. A bison. Wild Thing is the 11-year-old pet buffalo that has its own room inside his owners Ronnie and Sharon Bridges' Texas home. Ronnie had actually kept a herd for years before he was forced to sell his herd of 52 buffalo way back in 2004 to pay for medical bills. Somehow he ended up keeping Wild Thing, who was just a 3-month-old calf at that time. Sharon had the idea to bring Wild Thing in the house, and Ronnie didn't agree at first because, well, obviously Wild Thing is a buffalo and they might not have a house left. However, when they brought him, ever since then, he's been in the house. In fact, Wild Thing even has his own room. He also really enjoys watching TV, his favorite being cartoons. And here's the amazing thing, believe it or not, he is potty trained. And even more unbelievable, he never breaks anything in the house, despite weighing well over 2,500 pounds. Now it's time for today's best pick. Today's pick is a pet that's not quite unbelievable, but it is potentially extremely dangerous as well. Find out what it is next with number 2. A polar bear. In Canada, you can find 2 fearless animal handlers at Beyond Just Bears. They are Mark Dumas and his wife Dawn. Just how fearless, you might ask? Well, just get a load of what they chose to be a pet. Their pet's name is Aggie, and I'm positive you've never seen any other pet like him. Because you see, Aggie is an 800-pound polar bear, but not just any ordinary polar bear. The Dumases have actually managed to train Aggie to star in high-budget TV adverts and movies. Mark adopted her from a zoo when Aggie was still a cub. Mark and Aggie soon grew so close, in fact, that the trainer was able to play fight with her, kiss her, and even place his head in her mouth without fear of the bear biting it off. The pair also love spending time in the swimming pool together, where they are known to participate in the occasional friendly wrestling match. This bond between the two of them is unbreakable, and the polar bear's love for her best buddy is seemingly evident in the way she acts around him. When Aggie is with Mark, she often emits a low-pitched rumbling noise, much akin to the purring of a cat. An 800-pound cat, but I'm sure you get what I mean. Before we move on, do me a favor. My analytics show that only about 15% of you watching are actually subscribed. Come on guys, what's up with that? Can you guys please hit the subscribe button? You guys watch my videos every day anyway, so you might as well subscribe and keep up to date with every video we put out. Number 1. Tigers. Yes, it's plural folks, but can you guess just how many? 2, maybe 3? Try 7. It's pretty unthinkable for me to welcome even one tiger into my home, but 7 of them is pretty insane. Well, one Brazilian family has opened their home to these unusual set of pets. The Borges family from Maringa, Brazil have been living with these 7 tigers for more than 8 years now. Tigers are known for being nocturnal ambush predators that rely on the camouflage their stripes provide to stalk their prey. They use their body weight to knock their prey to the ground and finish it off with a bite on the neck. Not the kind of abilities you'd want for an animal living in your home. However, these are quite different from other tigers. They eat with them, swim with them, and even let the children ride on their backs. Since Ari Borges rescued 2 of the big cats from the circus 8 years ago along with their cubs, they've become the members of the family. Now, Ari plans to open an eco park where his beloved pet tigers can roam freely in the area, just like what they do in the house. Have you ever had an unusual pet? Let us know in the comment section down below. Want to watch more videos about amazing animals? Click on any of the videos you see on your screen. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later, everybody.